Hello my fellow gardening gals and guys, welcome back to my channel, Serenity Now Garden. My name's Jeannie and I garden in the zone 4B. So today we're going to do another What's Blooming Wednesday. It's just the end of July here. I'm kind of in between some bloom cycles. I want to wait to do a full garden tour till all my Millennium Alliums are blooming so I could take you through that. But I didn't want to miss certain things that are just about to fizzle out. Like we have one variety of Astilbe just about to fizzle out. We do have some Phlox that just started, Coneflower. We have some Quickfire Hydrangeas that are going strong that I want to show you. And we'll just take you through the front, we'll work our way towards the back, and I'll just give you some highlights. If you guys like What's Blooming Wednesdays, if you can give me a thumbs up so I know, that would be great. And yeah, consider subscribing to my channel. It would really help me out. All right, guys, so I'll take you up front. All right, guys, it's time for What's Blooming Wednesday. I'm so excited. So this is my front porch right now. I added a few more annuals because I had some impatiens that didn't make it. I think they just kind of got fried. But they had 75% off, so I got a couple for like $1 each. This is Persian Shield. Check out this plant. I know it's not a bloomer, but I had to show the foliage. It looks so good next to this lemon coral sedum. My delphiniums on each side are just fizzling out, so check out the texture on these leaves though. It's like reptilian or something. It's just so cool. I love the color. It's gonna get a lot bigger too. So I think that looks good right in front of my little bird bath. So I had these SoCal Bordeaux petunias and it wasn't filling out this container, so I put this coleus in back and I hope that coleus fills out. But as you could see, that lighter color inside of that coleus leaf really brings out the color of the Bordeaux SuperCal petunias. So I hope that fills out a little more. I don't think it's getting quite enough sun. And here's my container right now. The coleus still is a little stunted. It still needs to fill in a bit more, but we got elephant ears, we got some begonias there that are flowering, and the creeping Jenny looks amazing. And then we have chocolate covered cherry, wizard, and watermelon coleus. So the biggest one is the watermelon. So I'm pretty happy with that, except the elephant ears have just got ripped up a little bit from the wind. There's some wizard coleus right there as well. So I got these for like $1. So they're new, so they still need to fill in, but check out this one. The coloration is just really unique. So yeah, not blooming technically, but I just love really bright foliage plants, and this is kind of a shadier area. And here's some calabrachoa going strong. Cut this back not too long ago. This was my Lowe's clearance find for like $7 because it was so distressed. So it's really come back. Cut it back, fertilize it, water it well, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It kind of looks like small Bordeaux supertunias. And we got Blue Angel here. This is technically blooming, so I decided to include it. The pollinators love these flowers, but look how big it is. It's like over 5 feet across. I just love it. I just cannot split this plant either because I just don't want to mess it up. It was here when I moved in. So let's go down the side yard now. The clematis going up the arbor is kind of in between blooms. It should rebloom a little bit. There's not a whole lot blooming on the side yard here. The rock garden's to the right. There's some iris there and some Atlantisedum to the left. There's also some summer Drummer Alliums, but I have some up front I'll show you in more detail. So these alliums are different. These are perennial alliums, and these are proven winner Serendipity. They're just starting to open. So this is my first year with Serendipity. I'll have to compare it to the Millennium to see what I like better. So far, these look like they're a bit taller. They're blooming a little bit sooner. And then we have 2 Quickfire Hydrangeas. I love these hydrangeas. They're one of the first blooming for the season of hydrangeas. They're going to be 8 feet tall and wide. So these are going to get huge. But look at these flowers. They're just so pretty, so dainty. And you know, one of the good things about these flowers is that they don't get weighed down by the rain.
like Annabelle hydrangeas, so they don't droop. I just love them. And they'll turn like a little pinkish. So this is just second year, so I cannot wait for these to fill in and kind of hide the neighbor's chain link fence there. I got 2 of them there. Very happy with those. I would highly recommend Quickfire Hydrangeas if you have the room, of course. And right in front of that, we have some yarrow. Now, if you're looking for a maintenance-free plant, this is it pretty much. I mean, I did have to spray a little bit of liquid fence on it. There's some new growth there. A deer or a rabbit, I'm not sure, came in and took some of the blooms off, but the foliage is just pretty. It's drought tolerant, heat resistant, and it'll just kind of spread for you a little, but not too much, so it's not invasive. But yeah, I just love those blooms. And we're just going to kind of go down the path here. As you can see, the rock garden that's just next to the wall or next to the house is mostly green and yellow. You know, there's not a whole lot blooming right now, but there will be some sedum blooming in the fall, so stay tuned for the next garden tour. So let's see what else is blooming here. We have Sweet Kate spiderwort. This is the spiderwort that has the chartreuse foliage. And look, it's just covered in buds. I know only like one's open now, but later in the day here, once the sun comes out a bit more, these will open. So I'm really happy with this plant so far. I want it to spread a bit. I heard spiderwort will spread for you, so I'm happy with that. But if you don't have a lot of room, you might not want to plant that because, like I said, it can spread. There's another one right there too. I just thought this was perfect in the shade. It just brightens up the area. And it's just covered in buds. And I thought the astilbes were almost fizzled out, but they're done. Unfortunately, astilbes only bloom for like 2 to 3 weeks in July here in Zone 4B. Um, so they really put on a show, and when nothing else is blooming, it seems like they really take over. But yeah, they just fizzle out so quick. Some people spray paint those heads, the spent blooms, but here is nothing. There's not a whole lot blooming right here. This one's just getting done. This is the matcha ball false leaf spirea. It did have white blooms on it. And here, this is penstemon. It's just first year, so it's just a little guy. I think this is Dark Towers. But you guys, these blooms are a hummingbird magnet. So if you're looking to bring hummingbirds to your yard, plant some penstemon. I got Dakota Burgundy, Dark Towers, and Husker Red so far. They also make a kind called Midnight Masquerade. And it'll fill in. It'll get a couple feet tall and wide. And I just added these to the landscape because I need color. Now let's go behind the coneflower first here. There is Angelonia. Now those are just annuals. I got them for really cheap, so I just threw them in there. They're not going to be there next year. So yeah, they're okay. I love purple, but they're not quite the showstopper I thought they were going to be. So right in front of it, though, this is one of those double scoop coneflowers. So it's got the petals where the seed head is. And then it's got the petals on the side, too, which this is new. Some of it's still growing in. This one's called raspberry, double scoop raspberry. Isn't that gorgeous, though? However, it doesn't help the pollinators because the pollinators can't get to the pollen. So it'll attract some butterflies, but I have a regular coneflower next to it that will help the pollinators. So this is more just for show and to attract some pollinators. It can attract birds in the fall too. Gorgeous color. The deer are eating all the flowers off of my hostas, but all right, check out this color. This is first year, so this is just a Kismet raspberry coneflower. So the pollinators love this one, and I love it too. It is just like a deep red, like a deep raspberry magenta type color. I like it. I mean, it's just a great alternative to the run-of-the-mill pink purplish Magnus old-fashioned coneflowers. So, and look at how big these blooms are. I mean, that's as big as my hand. And like I said, this is just first year, so this will grow in, and hope it reseeds there. And yeah, I hope to have a lot more because I'm putting in a veggie garden eventually right behind this, and I want to attract some pollinators to the area. And just more hostas here, some spent astilbe. This is a new area I just planted up. I will put a link in a card up above if you want to check that out. There's a root ball to the left there because there's some trees that fell down. We're still clearing that. The only thing that's blooming over here right now is this Royal Candles Speedwell, or AKA Veronica. I do need to deadhead part of this, so the new blooms will kind of have a little more energy. So I'll do that probably after this. See, these are all spent right there. I'll cut those off, and you could see the new growth right there. So those will grow in. I mean, this is just first year for these 3 plants as well. So they'll fill in. There's a lot of moisture back here, so I think they'll love it. We got some snake root that'll eventually bloom in this area. We got some clethra that's going to bloom soon. And we got some astilbe just on its way out. All right. I know this isn't blooming, but I got to show you. Look at the berries. They're just covered in berries on the showy mountain ash. These are going to turn bright orange, almost to where they, from afar, look like blossoms. Japanese beetles got to this a little bit, not too bad. I was able to control it a bit, but I highly recommend showy mountain ash. This tree will eventually get 20 by 20. So look at this. This is my underwhelming area because I'm kind of trying to hide that air conditioner, try to take your attention away from the air conditioner here. So I planted some phlox. This is huge and it's on year 3. Can you imagine when the phlox up front gets this big? It's just going to be huge. So anyways, yeah, this one has some variegation to it, some white centers, and this other one is just all pink. But check out how big some of these blooms are. I mean, that whole thing is huge. So I'm really happy with this phlox. And look there's tons of buds on it still, so it's still going to be even more brilliant than it is now. So highly recommend phlox, long bloomer, low maintenance. I really love it in this area. So now this is my retaining wall up front. I just want to show you this Dianthus I thought was completely done. It's Fire Witch, but it's starting to bloom again. It's got like 4 or 5 blooms on it. Nothing much to look at, but I thought it was done after the late spring bloom, and yeah. And this was my Menards find. This is an annual. I think it's calabrachoa, but I'm not sure. But it's still growing strong. $20 for this thing, and it's huge. So I need some color in this area because this bed is hard to plant in. It's 3 maples, which keeps the area super dry. So I rely on hanging baskets just for some color. So really happy with that. You know, I need to deadhead some of it right now, but looks good. And my front bed, we'll finish up here. So these are my summer drummers. I have 4 of them out of like 26 up here that I planted, I think. So these are the latest blooming allium. I thought they were goners, but sure enough, some of them bloomed. About 4 feet tall, so we're just in July 27th here. So this is late for bulb alliums. And look at the stems are like a lavender as well. So I hope once they all grow in, I think it would be, quite a sight to see. But right now, kind of underwhelming, but I like them. Alliums are one of my favorites, so they're very low maintenance. The only bad thing is the foliage starts to die on them before they even start to bloom. As you can see, it's kind of dead on the bottom there, but that's okay. That's what happens in a perennial bed. You have some things that look great and some things that don't. All right, we're coming to my Magnus coneflowers here. So these are the old-fashioned, just regular purple coneflowers. They look great and they're covered in buds still. I sprayed a little liquid fence on it, so some of the leaves are a bit white. That's not powdery mildew, that's just from my spray. This one I thought was a goner for a little bit. It was like all bleached out white, but it's starting to come back. I see some pink color come back. So I think this one's going to be okay. I think it just got a little too dry and just kind of fried. This area can be pretty dry. I have very sandy soil, so I think it'll be okay though. We have a golden spirit smoke bush. It's not technically blooming, but I'm going to show you how smoky it looks here. So just a really cool shrub. It'll get like 6 feet tall and wide. It gets really gold like in the spring, so it's a little more green right now, but I love the leaves too. Highly recommend that. Low maintenance, can take full apart sun. So it's done really good in this bed. Can't wait for it to just fill in and kind of brighten up the area with its foliage. And another coneflower on the other side. More of the Magnus. Just gorgeous. Pollinators love it, like I said. And just next to it, I just planted this powwow wildberry. So these look a little bleached out right now, but they will get a deeper magenta type color, raspberry type color. And the other side of this bed here, we have Potentilla up front. We have two actually. These are first year and they got really dried out because they were root bound. So they're a bit stunted and a bit dried out, but they're hanging in there. This was creme brulee. So creme brulee potentilla. Potentillas give you a lot of bang for your buck because they will bloom all summer and they're very drought tolerant and they could really take the sun as well. So very low maintenance. I highly recommend those. And we have the drift of phlox just behind it. Like I was saying, I cannot wait till all these phlox get as big as the ones in back. This is going to look great. This one's called Baby Doll. These are just generic Lowe's brand phlox. I got them for $5 each. These are first year, so they're not very big yet. But yeah, I mean they go in these cycles where, they'll bloom a bunch and then they'll be done and then they'll bloom again and they'll just keep going until the end of summer. Another baby doll. So I can't recommend phlox enough. And for the last one here, this is Liatris. So this is first year. It has these little pink feathery flowers that'll fill in. And just 2 spikes here, but this will spread a bit. So it's just like in a part sun area. All right, you guys. Well, that was my What's Blooming Wednesday. Stay tuned. In a couple weeks, I'm going to do a full garden tour once those Millennium Alliums are blooming, so it's a real show. So take care, guys, and happy gardening.